Today I'm going to make planters out of stone tile. I got a couple different types of stone tile from Home Depot, and while the marble looks great, it was a little bit shinier than what I wanted. So I put on some 400 grit sandpaper and just sanded it just a little bit, and that took off some of the shininess. This was my first time cutting stone, so I was pretty excited to figure out how to use this tile saw. It was actually pretty easy. I filled it up with water and used it just like a table saw. I made the first planter out of tiles that were 12 inches by 12 inches and ripped them down into strips that were about 3 3/4 of an inch wide. The water is great. It keeps the blade cool and it also minimizes the amount of dust in the air. I glued the pieces together with construction adhesive. It all went together pretty well because the saw cut it so straight. I used C-clamps to hold it together, but be careful with this because if you squeeze it too tight, the tile can crack pretty easily. I used a stick to push the adhesive around and make sure all the corners were sealed. I let it sit overnight before removing the clamps. For my second planter, I used white marble 12 by 24 inch tiles and cut long strips. For the second planter, I used rubber bands instead of C-clamps, and it actually worked really well. I squirted the adhesive along the inside edges and then used a stick to push it in between the pieces of tile. Some of the cut edges of tile can be a little bit sharp, so I used a drum sander on my drill to smooth them down a bit. If you're not going to put drainage holes in the planter, it's a good idea to put a thin layer of gravel in the bottom before you add plants and soil. This was a really easy project, and I was really impressed with how the planters looked considering they came from just a few dollars worth of tile. For more detailed instructions, check out my website and be sure to follow me on social media.